All right, what's going on, y'all? Well, I was a little delayed. How's everybody doing tonight? Oh, obviously, hey, it actually notified people. Let's see if we get some more people in here. So obviously I took a long vacation. Carlos, what's going on? How you doing? So I don't know how many people we're gonna have on this live stream since it's the first one back, and you know, I don't know about y'all, but I didn't get notified when I on my other channel, personal channel, when I set this up. So I don't know how busy the live stream is going to be, but we'll live stream as long as we've got activity. So get a little few more people in here, and then we'll talk about how my vacation went. Spoiler alert, we didn't go to England. Oh, I hate that. Renegade, what's going on? So my daughter, right before we were getting on a plane to go to the UK, my daughter decided that it'd be a great time to get COVID. And not just get COVID, she got sick from COVID. So had to move everything to this year, obviously from last year, and had to reschedule that trip because she was quite sick, and getting on a tube and flying across the ocean was probably not the best idea. So me and my wife wound up going up to Asheville, had a nice trip up there. Corey, what's going on? SNA Auto. The hair is just the hair. Facial hair is, I hate shaving, but my wife insists I do it. So usually goes for a few days and then I shave it. So it just depends on what day of the week it is and whether or not I felt like shaving. Yeah. Val, yeah, it does suck. It was it just sucked. My daughter was sick for a while after we canceled the trip, and then she got the flu and is still has remnants of that. But yeah, so yeah, she's doing okay. I mean, nothing real major, but she was quite sick when she got COVID, and it getting on a plane and giving an entire plane load of people on the way to the UK COVID plus me and my wife probably didn't seem like a good idea. So yeah, the many faces. Yeah, that's a nice way of saying things. But yeah, no, so that trip got moved. The big one was the two big things was the air flight to and from the UK, which I booked through Chase and American Express. They were real good, small change fee, moved the dates. We lost some stuff like the tours that I had at distilleries. We couldn't get back, stuff like that, but not too bad. Phil H, you ought to be glad you got hair. Yes, I am very thankful. It may be very gray, but at least I got it. Yes, I am very grateful that I have hair. My my uncle, who biologically is not my uncle, he would be my great cousin, I think, or something like that. My mom got adopted. But anyway, he's completely bald except the strip. So when are we going to see you at some training events? Hopefully this year. It's just, everything going on. Kind of hard to get away sometimes. You know how it goes. But hopefully this year I'll be able to get out a little bit more and do some things. But yeah, no, it's 23 was a very interesting year, but hopefully I'll be able to do some more stuff this year and get everything more normalized in my life. I still have the mother-in-law with dementia and the issues surrounding that and stuff like that. Phil H. Got a guy at work sporting the skullet. Oh, it's like, man, shave it. Yeah. Dustin Cooper, do you know of any locking flex reversible ratchet wrenches? I don't know if I don't think they're locking. I think there's ones that have detents, but I don't think there's any that are actually locking. They would be quite expensive though, because putting locking mechanisms in every ratchet side would be rather expensive. Renegade. I always say, I don't care if my hair turns gray as long as it doesn't turn loose. Yes. Yeah, no, my dad had a full head of hair when he passed. Detent work. Trying to think. Who had those? Dustin, I'll try to remember, and if I remember what company it is, I'll look it up. Phil H, you know how to actually get a locksmith account? North American NASTF is like what when I ask them, you need to have I don't know why they're saying like what, because they're the ones that administer locksmith stuff for the automotive side. You need to have say you need an LLC, you need to be bonded and insured, and you need to have a physical address. And then once you go through the licensing stuff, it's pretty much just pay your fees and wait for the government to do their things. But yeah, you have to have license, insurance, and a location. Okay, yeah, no, Dustin, I'll try to find them if I can think of them. Just whether or not the old memory works. Oh, I hate you. Here you go. Vim tools. I don't know if this is exactly what you're looking for, but they might have, see the detents they've got on it. Oh. A new. I'm sure you're looking for just regular wrenches, but that's one option. Cool. Glad I could help. I knew there was somebody that did detents on their ratcheting ends. Yeah. S&A Auto would know. Darren Locke says Gear Wrench makes some as well. Let's get back to. Oh, I hate that. Anyway, bonded, not necessary. Corey would know, so. Phil H. NSTF was like talking to a box of rocks. Yes. Yeah, unfortunately, yes. They are kind of useless. They used to be a lot better, but they kind of just died. I don't know whether they Cool, Phil. Yeah, get with Corey and Jeff L. What toolbox are you talking about? Um Oh, I don't have a way to. So what other tool questions we got out there tonight? Oh no, no. The Revel X's are the Revel X and the Revel are not going anywhere. They are paid off, and why would I sell them if they're paid off? What's your bread and butter ratchet wrench? I still use just a standard set of gear wrench. I've had the reversible gear wrenches, just the standard size and the standard set, I should say. And then the mountain wrenches. Those are basically the two biggest ratcheting wrenches I use. Probably use the mountain wrenches, or in my case, they're Matco, but they're, the double long flex head splines. Those are the wrenches I use the most other than regular wrenches. One style at least. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's my wrench sets are pretty they don't change. It's basically set of snap-on flank drive wrenches, The gear wrench is the second set. Then I've got a third set of the double-ended Megadora wrenches. Make really good. They're really, really good for rear brake jobs where you have to hold the caliper nut while you loosen it, especially on Volkswagens. They're thin, but they're not so thin that they're uncomfortable to use with a power tool. Dustin, you're welcome. Have a good night. But that's basically my and the mountain wrenches. Those are pretty much 90% of the wrenches I use, other than large sizes, which vary based on what they are. I've got gear wrench in large up to 25, I think. Obviously, I don't use the 25 much, but it was a kit. And then I used to use the Mac Precision Torque, the Taiwanese set for alignments. Those have gotten pushed back because those were sitting at the alignment rack at the old shop, and now they kind of just sit in my toolbox. But anyway, best number one TV clips are the Icon ones, the same as Mountain. Yes. That wrench set is rebranded under Easy Red, Mountain, Matco, Platinum, Icon. They are all made by the same company called Cabo. Matco's wrenches, all of their wrenches are made by Cabo. I believe gear wrench wrenches are still made by Cabo, but don't quote me on that. But Corey, everything's going great. No, I mean, we're rocking and rolling. Phil H, I bought a Snap-on logo, put it on a US General tool cart. People think it's legit. Oh, years ago, there used to be a huge market for like fake Snap-on stickers. Like people would just print Snap-on logos and then sell them, and it used to be huge for Harbor Freight carts. T. Corellis, do you happen to know if Milwaukee sockets are harder impact sockets? I cracked one yesterday. It surprised the crap out of me. Cracked a 1/2 inch drive, 1 5/16 socket. I don't know. I wonder if Connor got on the internet. Well, sorry if it buffers, but I don't know the metallurgy of their sockets. I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you. I haven't used them, enough to wear them out. Generally, impact sockets tend to wear out. They might have gone harder for less warranty. I don't know. I can't answer that question. RSX 123, it's like apprentice level diag compared to automotive. They get paid more than us. Don't know where that came from. I don't see anything. Mounds are definitely go-tos. Yeah, I mean, I've got the Matco version, and that was just because I lost my Mountain dealer and I was breaking the 14 millimeter like constantly. And then of course I bought the Matcos and haven't broken a 14 since. RSX, I don't know what that comment was about. Stream output. All right. See if that. Ooh, cancel. No. All right. Hopefully that fixed that. All right. Let me get back to this. Nash got it. Thanks. Really appreciate it. Just been building my tools up to 1.5-inch sockets and wrenches and 24 on metric stuff. Appreciate it a lot. No problem. Freedom Kings Films. I had a customer that their car headlights were out because the headlight switch was off and not on the auto setting. So I've been the lock guy who shut the lights off, got in trouble. It's really, 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 really sad how often people don't realize their automatic headlights are off. Like my truck, if you turn the automatic headlights off, it'll reset. I think that's deliberate because so many people have their headlights turned off and don't ever turn them back on, because you see a bunch of people driving around Atlanta with daytime running lights on, no tail lights, etc. Yeah, I probably have had some of those complaints too, because I've turned headlights off doing stuff. And if they don't reset and I don't think to turn it back on. But yeah, that's funny. Phil H, I don't know. I don't care what brand I use. If it takes the bolt out, I call it a day. Just trying to get to retirement in a few years, hang up the tools and laugh at all the newbies. Yeah. Shit Wrangler, I heard you've taken a government gig. I don't know where you got that from. Okay, RSX. RSX, it depends on who's you're talking about, but yeah, that it's very simple. It's like once you get the base knowledge, it's not really hard. My stepson does HVAC repair. He that's not his primary job, but he does HVAC repair. So it's pretty easy. Let me rephrase that. Can be a lot less complicated than automotive. But you still have to have knowledge. Without knowledge, like I'll give you an example. I had in my air conditioner, one of the air conditioners in this house didn't work. And it was the float switch, but it caused my thermostat not to work. I didn't know that. My stepson did though. But anyway, Wrangler, a Navy SEAL. I am way too fat and old to be a Navy SEAL. And, if I was in the Navy, my dad would be turning over in his grave. My dad was a Marine, by the way. And the only reason I say was is he passed. But, because once a Marine, always a Marine. But yeah, no. I am way, way past my prime as far as doing that kind of stuff. Phil H, well, you might be drafted with all these wars Uncle Joe's getting us in. No, but that is a concern for my son, who is 18. Warren says the audio is not very loud. What do y'all think? Is it his or is everybody's audio off? I can boost it if we need to. So anyway, let me know in the comments. Darren Locke, thoughts on Matco or Blue Point carts? Looking at upgrading from a Husky. the Matco carts, as long as it's not the one style. This Matco roll cart is decent. It's not horrible. They've got a full version that's all drawers all the way down. That one is rebranded and not made by Matco. But their actual Matco branded ones are excellent. That's what I use to this day, is a Matco roll cart. All right, let me see if I can. Properties. All right, how's that? Let me know if that's better. I boosted it by 2 decibels. I don't want to blow anybody's ears out. The bald. Orion, what are your thoughts on ASE? I think ASE shows a dedication to this industry as a career. I don't know how valid it really applies to the real world. But I do think it's worthwhile to get. Some manufacturers recognize it, some employers recognize it for pay raises, etc. But it shows a dedication to the industry. Does it prove you can fix anything? Absolutely not. But I do think there's value in having them. Phil H, I failed the electrical ASC, but I'm the go-to electrical guy for 4 shops. Yeah, like I said, it doesn't prove, they're one of the hardest things, or one of the best pieces of advice I can give anybody taking the ASE is very, very thoroughly read the question. They state it in a way that is easily misinterpreted to get you to click on the wrong answer. If you read the question very carefully, 9 times out of 10, you will know the right answer. But most people kind of glaze through it and they misunderstand the question. The last time I took the electrical one, they had a DVOM question, and I completely I failed. I missed the question, but it bugged me, and then I reread it, and I'm like, oh, yes, I was wrong. But yeah, that's the big thing for ASE is it shows dedication. That's about it. It doesn't show you can fix a car. Jay Thorne says, say no to flip lid carts. I put a lot of stuff on the back lid of my cart, so but Aaron Kindig, could be louder, mechanics are deaf. Yeah, bald mechanic, let me know if you need a little more. If I boost it anymore in my Go XLR, it gets real. There's a lot of noise in the signal, but I can boost it with OBS, so just let me know. Phil H. Technician A is always right. Technician B is an idiot. What about Technician D? Oh, I gotta answer that email. I haven't gotten back to that lady, but I need to. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this industry, you know, because RSX got out of it, and it's like there's good things about this industry. You know, when I did the video going undercover, you know, shop owners got all but hurt about me calling out most shop owners. You know, not calling them out, but they got butt hurt because a lot of shop owners don't pay well, don't treat their people right. And, you know, and that's not unique to this industry either, but I know some HVAC guys that can attest to that. Not talking about Sergio. I don't know if he's don't know Sergio that well to say, but I know some HVAC guys that have gotten screwed. All right, so what other tool questions we got? Stream health good. Oh. So come on, guys. What other questions you got? For a second there, I almost closed the stream. Sergio, have I used the M12 die grinders? Oh, yes. The M12 die grinders, I own 2 of them. The right angle ones, I use them constantly. Every brake job, those come out because they've got a roll-lock disc on one, and the other side is for cleaning around the studs, and just constantly in use. I love them. The biggest drawback to them, if you're using them as a like rotary bit on it with, you know, like a cutter on it, they're going to be less powerful than air. There's no way around that. They will, if you go aggressive, they will bog down. Excuse me. So if you're going for cutting applications, not sheet metal, but actual metal cutting, like you're cutting cast iron or something like that, they're not going to cut as well as like an air die grinder. But, you know, for most automotive uses, they're great. For, like I said, for using like a 3-inch cutoff wheel, I generally would grab the, for bigger jobs, I would generally grab my air. For smaller jobs, I usually grab the straight one. I've got that one too. Phil H, you ever use Harbor Freight electric tools? No, I have not. They're rebranded by, you know, they're made by somebody else. I don't know who, but they're made by somebody else. So Matco's electric tools, before they hopped on the Milwaukee bandwagon, they're rebranded from an Australian company. Which I don't know where they're, you know, all I know is that's who the ODM for those products are. I don't know where they actually are, you know, made or anything like that. But Matco's electric impacts and all that was an Australian company. You could find the exact models in Australia. Matco had the exclusive. Nash 72 tooth or 90 tooth gear wrench. The 90 tooth is going to have a tighter turn radius, you know, less ratcheting movement. 72 tooth is going to be a little bit stronger. I don't know how often you break ratchets. I don't very often break ratchets, but the higher tooth count can lead to weaker gears. I don't have any specific experience with the 90 tooth. Yeah, I think the one I had was the 88 tooth. Still pissed I lost that ratchet, but yeah, I mean, either one will be good. Renegade, anyone know the price difference between the mountain wrenches and the Icon ones? Amazon versus Harbor Freight, I think there's a 20 to 40% difference, or 20 to $40 difference in price on Amazon versus Harbor Freight, but don't quote me on that. I mean, they're pretty easy to look up online, but if you know, if you've got a Harbor Freight nearby, like I said, I've broken the 14 millimeter a bunch. So it's probably worth spending the little extra money to be able to warranty it easily. T. Corellis, what are your go-to impact swivel sockets? I've tried Icon, Sunix, eventually shelling out the money for Snap-on. Impact swivel sockets, I'm Matco. Matco 100%. The Matco made, or not made, but the US made Matco pinless have been solid. I mean, I've got them from 1/4 inch all the way up to 24 millimeters. They're in my opinion the best impact swivel. The ADV from Matco is rebranded Sunix. So, you know, they're expensive as all get out, but Matco, you know, is what I use. I have shallow 3/8 in Snap-on still that I haven't replaced, but I generally just grab the Matcos. Sergio, pull the trigger on it. For anything but like heavy grinding, they work well. Just don't push hard on them, because if you push really hard on them, they will set the battery. The motor protection will will kick on. That's the only downside to them is the you can't use it you can't use it like an air powered die grinder, but they work well. Phil H, do you do any welding? Any good at it? I can stick weld. Structurally sound. It may not be the prettiest weld. I'm excellent MIG welder, and I have never TIG welded in my life. It's always something I've wanted to learn, but I've never been able to spend any time with a TIG welder. But I can't MIG welding. I can not only do a pretty weld, I can do a strong weld. Stick welding, less pretty, structurally sound. If it's not broke, fix it. SB Tools, cordless looks like Matco. Renegade, Matco's cordless tools used to be made by Techway in Taiwan. Yeah, I never got to the actual OEM, but they are sold under Australian company. But yeah, that could be Renegade. Nash, I break everything I touch. That's why I'm asking. Yeah, I'd go to the 72 tooth if you break everything. Yeah, Renegade. Yeah, if you're 4 miles away from Harbor Freight, something like the ratcheting wrenches, I would definitely buy from Harbor Freight just for the warranty. Like I said, I spent significantly more for the Matco set of those just for warranty, just so I could go, here, it's broke, give me a new one. Nash, I second the Matco pinless. They are awesome. Yes. I've gotten, I've broken so many of the Snap-on pinned. I mean, I can't tell you how many. Like, I think the only original of the 3/8 set that hasn't been warrantied of my 3/8 Snap-on swivels is the 11 millimeter. Or, I'm sorry, no, the 9 millimeter. I had to warranty the 11 millimeter too, which should tell you how often those things break. They jam up and they just break. I think the only I've only warranted a couple of the Matcos. I think I had the 24 millimeter, break after hammering on it with I think it was a full-size Milwaukee Impact for like a while, and broke the socket loose, but also jammed the joint. Yeah, Nash pinless, not painless. Trust me, the Matco pinless are not painless. They are expensive, especially the 1/4 inch. But I love the 1/4 inch impact swivels. I use those constantly. Back in the shop, what thermal imaging camera would you recommend? A FLIR. If you're going to get a thermal imaging camera, don't spend the extra money with Snap-on. Some of the launch is supposed to have a new one coming out. I haven't heard anything about that. Matco has one, but if you're going to get one, go to the OG FLIR. Excuse me, I got the hiccups today. That would be what I'd recommend, is going getting the FLIR. Just thing about it is like, if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on this, because, well, I'm almost positive FLIR uses a Bosch sensor, and then like Snap-on, it's a Bosch sensor with FLIR's stuff on top of it, their software, with Snap-on stuff on top of that, because they operate very similar. And so paying for Snap-on is kind of a bad idea. So, Jay Thorne, if you break tools, you're not using the right tool for the job, generally. Yeah, usually means you need to go bigger. I've gotten that like, people ask me, like, have you broken this, on your, Milwaukee electric ratchets? I'm like, if I don't feel comfortable continuing to push, I get a bigger ratchet, i.e. a manual ratchet. But yeah, no, if it's not coming loose with a 3/8, go up to a 1/2 inch. I have many times, because I've face planted because of a ratchet breaking. Just saying. There's a I don't know if it's famous, but at the old shop, one of the young techs was working on something, and he loved cobalt. And if you're a longtime viewer of the channel, you probably know who I'm talking about. And he had a stuck fastener, and I'm sitting there wrenching on his cobalt, and it just shears right off. I wound up busting my butt. Because one of the things about, at the old shop is, like, I worked with these guys that would, work out and be, all bench pressing all this weight. And in car work, I was stronger than them, because I would come over there and they'd be struggling, with 2 hands. I'd come over there, 2 hands, and like, thump. But I'm not bragging. It's just, I don't work out, and all my muscles are designed to work on cars. I don't push the other way. K. Kovler. Back in the shop, thanks. It's about 1/3 of the price of Snap-on. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it's like literally just buy a FLIR. If you have Snap-on money, just go to get a bigger FLIR, because they go up to like 20 grand. But I don't recommend you buy a 20 grand FLIR camera for the shop. But no, you're welcome, man. I made the mistake of buying a Snap-on and then replacing it with the newer Snap-on, and then going, why did I do this? But K. Clover Tool Company, I don't know what that statement is. So we got something that attached to a different message. Mike the mobile mechanic. I remember those roll carts used to cost 600. Yeah, dude, everything has gone up. Unfortunately, yeah. Um, that is some weird stuff because I did change bit rate's down, but it's broadcasting at weird OBS stuff. All right. All right. So what other questions we got? Feel like I should be doing a song and dance TikTok style, you know, while I wait for questions. If it's not broken, fix it. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. I appreciate that. How is your current toolbox setup working out for you in the shop? Works out great. The biggest advantage is everything's at the shop. Everything I perceivably would need is at the shop with me. Appreciate that, Renegade. One of the biggest sucky parts of having, you know, that much toolboxes is suck to move. But having storage to properly set out things is awesome. You know, having one drawer where I can pull out, you know, have easy access to my coolant adapters and my radiator test tools and all that. It makes it so much easier. The hardest part about organization is deep drawers suck because you just have to go deeper and deeper and deeper to find stuff. And having as much drawer real estate as I do works out great for not burying stuff. Because the thing is if you put it 3 deep, you're going to forget where it is. You're going to not remember you have it, etc., etc. Diesel Medic, would you say the industry is dying, or do you think more jobs will open up in the future? It's not dying. It's not going anywhere. It's going to have to evolve. Whatever happens with alternative fuels, people are still going to need cars. I think diagnostic and heavy line guys are definitely going to be much, much more in demand. Because even with EV, it's generally when something breaks, it's big, heavy, and expensive. And right now, EVs are not throwaway cars, so they're going to get fixed until they're no longer economical to fix. Diagnostics, you know, I think I talked about it last year on live stream. You know, Tesla's Cybertruck is 48 volt PoE internet communications. It's a different protocol to learn, but it's still networked, and network through a switch is going to go down. They don't it's, you know, I'm not exactly sure how they've got it set up, but I know how internet works. And you know, so diagnostic guys are going to become much more valuable, or increasingly valuable. And, you know, is there going to be less kids to be able to just change oil? Probably going to be less of that, but it's not going away. It's just going to have to change. Legendary Fisherman, what are the types of diesel shops? Well, you've got standard diesel shops that just work on diesel trucks. You've got diesel performance shops that hot rod diesel trucks. They may also repair diesel trucks. And then you've got medium duty truck shops, heavy duty truck shops, and heavy duty truck shops may work on medium all the way down to pickup truck diesels, anywhere in between. You know, it just depends on that. You know, with diesel, you've also got shops that only work on equipment. places that only work on stationary equipment like generators. So there's lots of different options in the diesel market. Focus mic, what kind of footwear do you prefer? Timberland has been my go-to for the past 5 years. I wear Redback. I've been extremely happy with Redback. In fact, I wear Redback socks as well. They're bamboo socks. They're buy them tight, and then you know, they'll wear in pretty nicely. I do not wear steel toe boots. I have wide feet, and I've never found steel toe boots that don't just destroy my toes. So I don't wear steel toes. Jay Thorne, in the early days of Cobalt tools and their ratchets were made by Snap-on in Mount Carmel, Illinois, working on an engineer's car that worked there. And he said that Cobalt was 20% stronger. I don't know about that. I know later they were made by Apex, which was a division that also owned Matco at the time. And now I'm not even sure who makes Cobalt. I don't even think Cobalt still exists, but I'm not sure. I don't go to Lowe's much. If it's not broken, techs are going to have to get smarter with wiring. Yes, wiring and communication networks. Communication networks are just going to get more complex. There's no way around it. Eyeball room and motorhome shops if you really hate yourself. Oh, yeah. Vintage Bike Works. One of my most used tools in the past few years is a Snap-on neck light. Usually put it on over my ears. I can't stand anything on my forehead and the potential acne. Love that light. What do you use? I use a flashlight in my mouth. Or I'll use a like a stick light that I can magnet somewhere. I cannot stand, I wear a hat, so putting a light either on the brim makes the hat kind of fall off because I don't like my hat super tight, but I can't do a forehead light simply because of that. The Milwaukee neck light isn't bad, but I just find it doesn't really do me any good. You know, it's just personal preference, but I anything on my head, it just, other than a hat, just kind of annoys me. So, if it's not broken, fix it. +1 on the Redback socks. Yeah. I want a set, like my Matco dealer does during the holidays, does Bust My Balls, where if you buy something or you spend $100 or you pay extra on your bill, you get to bust a Christmas ball, and it usually has prizes. And I want a pair of socks in that thing. And well, let's just say I bought a bunch more. So it was a good thing that he, for him, that he included those in the giveaways. David Linares, currently learning about the Picoscope, pros and cons and uses for Picoscope for diag. The pros is you will take years to learn everything that tool can do, and there'll still be more stuff you can learn that tool can do. Pico and ATS are pretty much the top tier for scopes in the automotive industry. Cons are really, it's cost. Cost and having to use a laptop. ATS has a tablet scope that's available, which is a little handier because you don't have to have a dedicated laptop. It comes with one. ATS's software is a little more, ugly and a little more clunky in my opinion. But Picoscope for diagnostics, you can start off doing, testing for, ignition coils. You can test injector waveforms. cranking compression. You can sync an injector so you know which cylinder is not contributing. Misfires, obviously. Then you can get into pressure transducers and find, exactly what's wrong with an engine without ever disassembling anything on it. You get that far in, Brendan Steckler has a great class on pressure transducers. But it is awesome. If you're thinking about it, and you can afford it, I highly recommend getting a picoscope and having a decent laptop, Windows laptop, to power it. Because I still believe they only support Linux and Windows, if I remember right. Elemental, just about to throw my 2 weeks in, going to work for an ATIS calibration shop. That's cool. Yeah, very cool. Good luck. Let's see. Tool Addict, what 3 items do you think Snap-on still represents real value to a tech starting out? The free pocket screwdriver. The tool program they have for students is a really good way for techs to get a start with really good tools, as long as they do it responsibly, as far as how much they spend, how much they can afford, and what tools they buy. But I think that's one of the big ones is their discount program for students really helps them get a good start on the tools they need. So I think that's a good thing. I don't know specifically any tool. I don't know. Can't think of anything. This was in the early 90s. Early 90s, okay. Not familiar with that. 716 auto, freezing here in Buffalo. How's the weather in Atlanta? It's freaking cold. It was like 16 degrees last night, I think. Definitely in the 20s. Yeah, it's cold. No real, other than it being cold, no real other problems, but it's been cold. What's your opinion on the Snap-on Talon Grip needle nose pliers? They are definitely worth the money. They're not hype. They are really good. I'm really, really happy with them. Gordon, are you comfortable discussing your salary? Not to say more than I'm very well paid. I ain't cheap. I know I may look like a dime store whore, but I ain't cheap. I need that good money. If it's not broke, fix it. I give Radback socks at Christmas time. I like the Cornrow ones better. They are a tad thicker than the Matco, but I buy them both. Yeah, I only had the Cornwell dealer for like a year or so. And I still have broken tools from them, so. Vintage Bike Works. Remember the days of incandescent drop lights? Yes. Every drop blew the bulb, and if it touched you, you had to remove, and it would remove your skin. Fun times, yes. Yes, I do remember those very not fondly. Trust me, I've broken a lot of those. Every cage on them was always broken. Like you'd shake it and the cage would open, involving you getting burned. I hated those things. I talked about it. Well, anyway, I was like one of the first people to buy my own fluorescent drop light. And that's what I used for years. I refused to touch those incandescent bulbs because I got tired of getting burned. Tool Addict, which tool truck do you think is the best service in warranty? The one that shows up. First off, let's go with that one. I've never had any problems with general warranty. I had a Snap-on dealer. Another tech borrowed my air hammer and my brand new gold bit, which was a lifetime warranty bit from Snap-on, and destroyed it. And I went on the truck and I need this replaced. Before I could say anything else, he went into a 10-minute tirade on why air hammer bits should not be warranted and it was stupid and yada yada yada, going off on me. And my next statement was, and charge it to him. But I've never really had any problems with warranties on most trucks, other than the occasional, like, you know, like I still can't believe Snap-on's ratchets, their regular ratchets, their handles are not warranted. You have to buy a new one for like $60. But everything else is, you know, I haven't had bad experiences with warranties on tool trucks. So, you know, the thing about it is buy who you like buying from and shows up. Eyeball Room, you have the full Pico kit with NVH. I think it's around 8K if I'm not mistaken. I like it very usable. I do not have the NVH kit, and I don't have the pressure transducers for my Pico. I have a pressure transducer from Snap-on, which I don't recommend. I did the training on it, and at the time it was just hard to let me rephrase that. At the time it was hard to justify it, and the pressure transducers were out of stock, or the, you know, stuff like that. And so I never wound up getting one. Just did it other ways. Yeah, as Renegade says, that would depend on the dealer, not necessarily the tool truck brand. Scientist 101, how much should be a fair rate working on a 1099 contract? A lot. Like double what your salary, your hourly would be as a technician. Meaning if you're $40 an hour at a real shop, at a 1099 shop, you need to be $80 an hour. Because remember, you're 1099, which means you have to pay all your taxes, your Social Security, self-employment tax, and, you know, everything else. So you should not, I would not be talking to a shop that wants to pay you a 1099. But yeah, you need to be way more than you would be making per hour at a non-1099 shop, because they're screwing you. There's no way around that. The cages will also burn you. Yes. Elemental, the minute a tool dealer complains about warranty, I will cease to continue to buy from them. Yeah. That's that particular Snap-on dealer. I basically, there was one more issue, that, he had this new roll cart that he wanted to sell me. And I'm like, okay, bring it so I can see it. He didn't have a picture of it, nothing. I need to see it. 3 weeks went by. He never brought it. And I was like, screw this guy. I'm never buying anything from him again. Mac guy came later that day. I bought the Mac roll cart from him. I go, still got one of these? He goes, yeah, I got one. I got these colors. Which color do you want? I want a black one. Brought it that day. And, yeah, no, I mean, it's, if they're not treating you right, don't buy from them. Enoch, what do you think about people not buying their own tools and just borrow other people's tool? I work at a Chinese shop. We're very apprentice, and the shop foreman uses the boss's tools. I hate that. No one there owns their own shops except for me and the boss. And when the boss opened his shop 12 years ago, he had to buy a second set of cheap tools because he didn't want his 50 grand in Snap-on tools to get lost. Yeah, no, I don't get that. My opinion is, you know, I will borrow any tool to anybody, but if I see you not doing anything about changing your situation, get your own damn tools. Get out of my shit. I'm sorry. So yeah, that sucks. Vintage bikes can't miss with Snap-on hand and pneumatic tools. The 3/8 electric ratchet has been excellent as well. I've had some issues with their pneumatic tools. Their air hammer is freaking awesome, but some of their other tools have been but you know, your mileage will vary, and I stopped buying air tools a long time ago. When an apprentice borrows them, the shop foreman owns a shop in China, but approaches his daughter from school, so only 4 years going back to China. Kind of understandable for him to not buy his own tools, but still kind of sucks. Elemental, forget those snappy tools. Honestly, some of the best tools are the ones you make or beat on. Yeah. Yep. I mean, it gets harder and harder to justify the stuff on the tool truck. I mean, it really does nowadays. There's so many great options out there, with exceptions like the Matco pinless. Some would argue the Snap-on wrenches, but for day-to-day stuff, I mean, there's just so many great options out there that even if you have to buy 2 or 3 times, still doesn't cost as much as Snap-on. So, oh. Brent Stone, I hear that. I hate how a guy with 30K in tools makes the same as the guy that uses community tools. Yeah, no, I mean, I've worked with guys that will just use and use and use and use and abuse, and he doesn't care. I don't like those people. If it's not broke, the tool trucks are just getting stupid on their prices. Yeah, I've gotten asked a bunch about the Snap-on replacements to, you know, the Snap-on design mountain wrenches, and I'm like, you can buy 3 sets of the mountains for the price of the Snap-on. Yeah, they're rebuildable, but it's still 3 times the amount. Carmelo, do you believe no other tool brand compares to Snap-on the quality aspect? No. The Matco USA stuff, I think is just as good. I've got Matco US made impact sockets. I've got US made swivel sockets. Their ratchets are good. The quality Snap-on, the disparity between companies isn't anywhere as big as it used to be. You know, I've told this story before, but back in the day, you had crappy Chinese, Taiwanese tools. You had Craftsman, SK, and then you had the tool trucks. And Snap-on was the king at that point. And, you know, then Armstrong came in, some other companies that have all now gone. But the quality difference isn't that significant anymore. And the price to performance really is a big problem, because, you know, 3 times as much for the same tool that'll do the same job. It's harder and harder to justify that. Dak, any tips for a new apprentice working on a new car brand? Learn as much as you can. Get as much training material and training as you can. Absorb it. Just learn as much as you can. The the car part of it, pay attention to your coworkers, see how they operate. Don't do any bad habits, but just learn as much as you can, because that's the big one. And when it comes to being an apprentice, is absorb as much information as you can. Any training they want to give you, take it. Don't hesitate on taking it. Anybody wants to give you advice, take it with, a slight grain of salt, because some people's advice isn't that good. Some people's advice is really good. So, but yeah, learn as much as you can. Tool addict, you follow the rule after the third time borrowing the same tool, they need to buy their own. Generally, no. For the most part, when I'm borrowing a tool, it's not a ratchet, it's not a hammer, it's not a, socket or something like that. It's generally going to be a special tool, meaning a specialized tool for a particular job, radiator adapter cap, maybe sometimes, sometimes it's a scope, stuff like that. Do I expect them to run out and buy one for after, running out and buying a scope after 3 uses? It's a little hard for a lot of people to justify. So but generally I don't, it's not like I'm borrowing, a socket 3 times. It's usually the bigger stuff that I can understand people not running out and getting to replace, especially with, special tools. Cause as well as I do, you buy that special tool, that job's going away. More so if they're abusing the tool and not telling me. That's the big one for me, is I'll cut somebody off if they're abusing the tool and not telling me. You don't even have to, all you got to do is tell me, hey, I broke this. Let me know. But anyway. Elemental, the new snap-on ratchets are just not it in terms of design. The head seems too wide compared to the old head design. They look a little funky. I'll just continue using my Matcos. They still work. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's not a dig at if it's not broke, fix it. I don't know why they're redesigning their ratchets. I don't know why they bothered. Because I had no complaints with the snap-on ratchets other than I like the Matco grips better and the locking head on the Matcos. That's really the only reason I use Matco, is I like the grips better and I like their locking head system better than the old system. But brisket profit, where are you working on these days? Just various pieces of junk. Anything giving you a pain or some gravy you liked lately? Nothing real special lately, being off for almost a month, kind of, that was weird. Listen to the older texts and learn diag. If it's not broke, fix it. Yeah, no, that's what I meant, training and listen. Freeze Dry USA. Have you tried Mega Pro multi-bit screwdrivers? Well priced and made in the USA. No, I have not. I generally don't. Phillips, I use Vessel. Flathead are generally pry bars. I've got bits for pretty much all Torx, Hex, etc. So I generally don't use screwdrivers much anyway, but Dak, yeah, he's doing all the classes. Awesome. Still tech school at my community college. Thanks for advice. Good, dude. Good luck. Scientist 100. I bought my 4425A Pico 2 years ago. I don't use it that much, but feels great knowing I have it when I need it. I use my cheaper scope and my Veris Pico Pro scope when doing diags on the fly. Yeah, one of the advantages of my Varus Edge is the built-in scope. Quick, easy, use it easily across the shop. Not that big of a deal. It's got a built-in battery. It's nice having a built-in scope. I'm working on the new Enos Grenadier cool truck. Lots of software issues. That seems to be a a theme with newer vehicles. Elemental, the best feeling is when you reach the end of the storm, aka when you finish the disassemble to the sharp block and then finish job, cool off with some gravy for a couple weeks till it repeats. Brisket Profit special occasion cigar recommendation. Depends on your budget. Two of my favorite really nice cigars is the Plasencia Alma Fuerte, great cigar, and the other is the Padron 1964 50th anniversary in Maduro. Those are two of my favorite cigars. Obviously, if you can find it, a lot of people like the Opus X from Arturo Fuente. Not my favorite cigar. I've had many of them. I've always been disappointed versus the price. I've never been disappointed by La Plasencia or the Padron. I mean, honestly, I've never been disappointed by any Padron cigar. So hopefully those will help you. If you're not a Maduro smoker, the 50th also comes in natural, so I prefer Maduro. But yeah, that's one of my favorites, or two of my favorites. Enoch, in Canada, we have Canadian Tire. Yep, I'm well aware of Canadian Tire. They sell rebranded gear wrench tool for way cheaper. I don't think it's rebranded gear wrench. I think it's just from Cabo. But hey, the warranty's good. That's all that matters. Literally made probably at the same plant as gear wrench. I buy used 20-year-old tools for $5 and warranting them for the new $50 ratchet. Also, if you work at a car shop, attach the store warranty just to walk to customer service. Yeah, it used to be that way for Sears service center techs, where they'd work right next to the retail store and they could just walk in there and warranty their tools. DAC, yeah, I just got a 52-inch Husky box. Matt guy tried to get me into a used box. He repoed for $200 a week. Glad I didn't do that. Yeah, starting your career, don't get into the high payments for toolboxes. Toolbox just stores your tools. It's a nice to have, but it's buy tools, not the toolbox. Tool Addict goes wondering what the most amount of hours you ever build in a day. Build hours was over 50. But that was a weird day. It was actually at the old shop. I had it was replace engine, warranty engine, and then it totaled like 50 hours in one day. My literal hours went up 50 in one day because I installed a bad engine from the junkyard, replaced it, and it all got billed on one ticket. So that was like 35 hours, and I had like a 20-hour ticket or something like that. It was like 50 hours. Kind of weird day. Probably the most I've started and finished in one day was like 26 hours. that was, that kind of had to line up right. But I think that's the most I've legitimately started and finished in one day. But the most was over 50 hours. And the thing is like, I don't think I actually, if I remember right, what I did that day did not bill out that day. But that job and another bigger job all billed out in one day, and like it went up 50 hours. Because I think the jobs I did that day didn't bill out. But it was weird. Dak, I bought some RT Torx and I've already broke one, LOL. Renegade, I'm off to bed. Have a good night, man. Take care. Appreciate it. Dak, are Tecton any good? Yes. They're a Taiwanese rebrander. But yes, they are good. I own some Tecton tools. There are other people own Tecton tools and praise them. Yes, they are good. There's nothing bad about them. They're not cheap or cheesy or anything like that. They're not the best. They're not going to be, tool truck quality, but they're perfectly usable. In your new shop, you have both Revels in the same. Yes, I have the Revels are together. Also, Tegan says the Maxima tools on one side of the ratcheting wrench and gear wrench on the other. Okay, so they're rebranded. Cool. Dak, damn, 50 in one day. Yes, but again, there was circumstances. It was like I said. I don't think I touched either one of those tickets during that day. They'd already both been finished and parked, and they just billed out one day. That was the closest I've ever come to an 100-hour week. But yeah. All right. What other questions we got? I think we're gonna about start running this one down. So before we close out, anybody else got any questions? All right, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and call it there. Enoch, did your YouTube fame help you get you current shop? No. Yeah, you get a discount for Tecton. Yeah, Tool Haddock 50. That was a slow day, man. Come on. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and say goodnight. So appreciate everybody stopping by. As always, thanks for watching. I am the Flat Rate Master.